Hi, my name is Helge Maus from pixeltrain. Today we want to talk about a workflow tool with the name Cryptomatte. Cryptomatte is created at SciOp by Jonah Friedman and Andy Jones, and it helps you in creating ID maps on the fly while you are in the compositing stage of your project. It supports motion blur, transparencies, and also depth of field. And, like I've said, it helps you to create ID maps at the stage of compositing. So in a complex scene like this one here, you don't have to do all your work inside of your 3D program. If you need a mask for your compositing job, you can pull the mask later. And that's the big advantage in workflow with the help of Cryptomatte. Cryptomatte is meanwhile really broad used in other applications. So since Houdini 16.5, we have an implementation inside of Houdini. That's the topic of this tutorial. But also if you use other renderers or 3D applications, for example, you have Cryptomatte since Clarice 3.5. You have Cryptomatte inside of V-Ray here and RenderMan, and also inside of Arnold 5. And I have made a tutorial about the Arnold 5 integration inside of Cinema 4D. And there I show also how Cryptomatte can help your workflow there. On the compositing side, you can download here, like I've said, for free, the whole package. And there's an integration for Nuke, which I will show in this tutorial, and also for Fusion. And there are some other implementations which you can read here for your own. So before we dive in how to set up Cryptomatte inside of Houdini, I want to show you first what Cryptomatte is and how it works. So for this, I have created this easy scene here. We have some trees and a little bit of grass here and some hills. And I want to use now the masks which come through the Cryptomatte technology over inside of Nuke. Inside of Nuke, I've created here an empty project, and on the left side you see I have here this little menu. This is the Cryptomatte installation. So if you have downloaded the zip which I've shown you on the GitHub, so you can add this here to your Nuke path, and then you get these gizmos here of functionalities. If you add here Cryptomatte, you see it's a little gizmo and it needs the data from a Cryptomatte rendering. So for this, I've prepared a little example. I've rendered out this scene here. First, we have here the beauty pairs, which is a simple EXR file. We can hook this up here. That's my rendering here. And then I've rendered also in the same path here another EXR, which is named Cryptomaterial in the moment here. And if you open this up and you show it here in the viewer, it looks a little bit strange because you don't see anything here. But if you look here into the layers, you see that there are two different sets of layers. One set is the crypto object layer set here, and one is the Cryptomaterial set here. And you can also add your own sets, which I will show you a little bit later. To understand these layers here, you need this Cryptomatte gizmo here. I add this here to the stream, and in the moment you do that, you will see that now the information is decoded which lies in these layers here. First, you have to go here to the layer selection, and here you have to decide which kind of crypto information you want to see, the crypto material layer or the crypto object layer. Like I've said, later I will show you how to make your own, but this is very useful because with the crypto object now, you can select the objects which are inside of my Houdini scene. So for this, we need the pickers here. There's an add and a remove picker. And if you click here on the add picker, this is a standard Nuke picker now. And you can hold down your control or command key and click, for example, here onto a tree. In the moment I do that, the trees are highlighted here in yellow. Also, you see here in the mat list that you see exactly the name of my object here. This is the naming convention from Houdini. And also, if you press the A key like alpha, you see that you now get a wonderful mat for all my trees here in this rendering. If you now want to add more stuff, the picker is still active. You can go in here and click, for example, here on these little areas here where the ground looks through the grass. And if you hold down the command key again and click, you see now that I've also selected here the ground, which was named here landscape_grass, but it's not the grass itself, it's only the ground here. and I can deselect this now. So you can see that you can add more object selections to your mat. You also see this here in the alpha. And you also can make changes here inside of this mat list. It's like a keyer. And here you see your keyer expression which runs here. So you can go in here and say, okay, I don't want to see the trees here. You can remove this. And if you press the Enter key, you get exactly now here this selection. Also, you can enter a comma here and type, for example, if you know the name, it's object trees. I hope I spelled it correct. And now you see you get here a selection back. So these are the names you have in your Houdini scene. Really, really useful. You can clear this here and we can go here to the another option. So to the materials, you see now information of all the materials which I had in the scene. And for the trees here, for example, it's really interesting that we have here the trunk of the trees. And if I go here to the picker and click here onto the trunks, you again see a really nice selection of all the trunks with all the half transparencies and so on. And you also see where this material lived inside of Houdini. So, two ways of pulling a mat. If you now want to work with this, you can now have your selection. It delivers the mat output to alpha here, but you can change this how you want to deliver. And then I can go here and say, for example, I want to have a grade node. I bring this into the stream here and I switch here my viewer. And we have to unpremult this. So let us go here to alpha. And now I want to change, for example, here the trunks. So I make the gamma a little bit lower and I bring up here the multiply to change here this a little bit. You see, if I press the D key, the trunks get more contrasty. And now I can mask this out here by the Cryptomatte output here. And you see, now we've corrected here only the trunks. And if you need another mat, for example, I want to change here the grass, I can decide if the grass is an object or grass has a material, and I can use both. So I make another Cryptomatte here. You make a dot node so that it looks a little bit more tidy. Select this here first. This is the second Cryptomatte. And I go here, for example, to the material. I pick here a point. And I have now all my grass selected. It's the hair shader. That's correct here. And then we can make another grade here. Hook this up again. Go to the pre-mult, unpremult this here by the alpha. And now I can use this mat here. And if I go now to this grade here, I can go here into the colors, for example, and start changing here my grass to something else here. You see how useful this gizmo now is, how fast you can change the appearance here of your image without going back to Houdini and render again. You also have some more options inside of Cryptomatte. If you are here inside the gizmo, you will see that there's an advanced tab here where you can now decryptomatte everything. For this, you have to know that this here is a keyer expression, which works with these hidden layers. And if you want, you can decryptomatte this, so you get here a new setup, which is here a shuffle copy and the expression node where you have the keyer information exactly here. Sometimes this maybe is useful. Also, you will find some options here. You can decryptomatte everything, all the selection of the gizmos you have, and you can also encryptomatte everything. So, yeah, different options you can use here for working with these layers. So now you know how Cryptomatte is used. Now we want to go to Houdini and start setting up our scene for Cryptomatte. So let us switch over to Houdini into our scene. Here, the first step you have to go is you have to switch to your render node, your ROP, and in my case it's here in the out context. This is the mantra node. And the easiest thing since 16.5 is you only have to go here to images, and there under images, you have to go here to the tab Cryptomatte. If you now tick here this plus sign, you get a Cryptomatte layer now in your output. Since version, I think it was 411 here of 16.5, you have now the chance also to use the same EXR file for the Cryptomatte output in the output picture here. But in my case, I want to divide this up. So I tick here different file and I get here for the Cryptomatte information, like you've seen before, a different file. So this is now the first Cryptomatte layer. And so you have here the layer names, which is Cryptomaterial. And here you have the property you want to generate. In our case, it's the material name. But from the Nuke session, you know that we also can have object names. So this is something you can switch here, and I leave this at material name, and instead of changing this, I press the plus sign here and create another output. Same thing like before, I want to have the different file, it's the same name, so these informations run into the same EXR, and here the property I want to change now to the object names and its name. To get now a clear naming convention, I change here the channel name, which is later the layer set name inside of Nuke, to crypto name or object, so we later know exactly, okay, this is the material, this is the object, otherwise you get numbers behind the layers, and this is not really nice to read. So now we have the same layer setup which we had before here inside of Nuke. You remember, we had here the chance to have a layer selection between crypto object and crypto material, and we've read in here this different file here into the Nuke script here by your own read note. But what if you want to have your own layers or your own informations? It's really easy inside of Houdini. You only have to tick here again with the plus sign, and we make the same setup. It runs into the same crypto EXR. We name it, and I name it myCrypt, for example. This is now my own layer, and this time we can't use one of these properties. We need our own property. So we name this like a variable name, myCrypto, for example, and I copy this to my clipboard so I don't have later problems that I misspelled something. So to fill now this layer, we can go onto our nodes. And for example, I want to have an information of all of my trees. So for this, I can address here this tree container. And if you select this, you can add here more options onto this container by clicking here onto this little cogwheel, and we go into the edit parameter interface or the rendering parameters. You will see you end in the same dialog. And what I want to do is I click here with the right mouse button here on root, collapse all, and here you see your three tabs you normally have: transform, render, misc. If you want to add something to a parameter interface, you have different options. You can make everything by hand by dragging here stuff from the types over. But in our case, we want to use render properties, which are predefined. And if you go here to the render properties, you see a whole bunch of render properties here. And to get a better look here, I collapse everything again. And if you now look here through this list here, we will find here mantra. And if you open up mantra, you see here the user folder, which gives you user properties. And that's exactly the thing we are after. So there are some options here. We use the whole user properties here. So select this folder user properties and bring it over here into your list. If you click now apply, you will see you get here a new tab with user properties. And now we can accept everything. So add a user property by clicking here. And this property name is now exactly the name we have copied into our clipboard. But be aware that this has to be a string. So go first here, select string. You have the property you want to deliver, and it's in my case, it's myCrypto. That's it. Now we have set up this property here on the trees, but we want to have a value because you want to select something inside of Nuke, like we've selected objects or, for example, materials, and so the string value here is named trees. That's the value we want to have. Now we make the same here for the landscape, and the landscape is made here by the grooming technology inside of Houdini. So this is the landscape itself. I select this container, I go back here to the interface, and now you know where it lives. So we go here to the render properties, and if you want, you can filter here. If you enter here user and press the enter key, it filters all the options out which have the name users, and here are the user properties. We bring them over, accept here. Takes a while because in the background we have some stuff going on here, and we tick here again. We want to have a string. I paste here my crypto property in, and this here will be the landscape. Okay, and the same thing for the grass, or in our case the hair gen. I select the container itself, and this container here is really filled up with many tabs here, so be aware of this. I go again here into my render properties, we filter out the user properties, and if you now add this here and accept this, you maybe don't find your information, but go here to the bottom of the list. Here is your user properties dialog. I add this again, string, my crypto, and this here is then the grass, for example. That's it. Let us check. My crypto is here, my crypto is here, and here we go back to the out context. We go here, check this. The property I want to collect here is my crypto. It gets its own channel name, crypto my crypt, and it runs into the same EXR like the other layers. That's it. Now normally my trainees come to the point where they want to try this, and so they go here to the render view and press render for a preview render. This will take a while, but they don't see the layers. Two things at this point. First, this is a different file we generate. You remember, different file. And the other thing is, these informations are not color informations, they are data, and so mplay and also here this integrated mplay will not show at this moment in time these layers here. So be aware of that. It's not your problem here with your setup, it's only a problem of mplay. So here we go. If you open up this AUV dialog here, you see it's only the color channel and nothing else here. But if you render this now out here through the normal render to disk, you will get here the second file and all the informations inside of this. And this is exactly what I've done to prepare the example scene. Because the final render now takes a while, I've prepared this now for you. So I switch over here now to Nuke. And like before, we start here by using a read node, and I go here to my renders, this time mantra PBR, and I load here my beauty pass. And like before, because we used a different file, we don't have here a layer, so this is really only the beauty pass. And we use another read node now, this time our user-defined crypto material EXR at this place here. And if I now look into my layers here, you see beside of the crypto name and the crypto material we had before, we have now a user-defined crypto layer, which here is named crypto my, because I've pre-rendered this before. The name is different, but it's the same user data I've showed you a minute ago. So here you have your crypto my, and there's all the informations with our user data. So we can now use this user data. As before, we add a Cryptomatte. Here we go back to RGBA, and now beside of the layer selections, crypto material and crypto names, we have now here our user-defined crypto my, And here we have three colors. If you take a closer look here, this here is the ground, this here is the grass, these are the trees. And if we go with a picker in, we can now, for example, say, give me all the trees. And if you now like, you can go here and say, and give me the ground here. And we get exactly the names which we have entered into the string field, landscape and trees. So if you know these names, you can now enter these names here, separated by a comma, and you get exactly the masks you need. But what if you want to use the crypto technology without Nuke or Fusion or a software which can use crypto at this point of time? For example, you want to work in After Effects or in Photoshop. A rendering like this here can take a while. And to generate a mask later can be extremely expensive. And for this, we can use the inbuilt compositor of Houdini to pull a mask here and deliver it later without going back to the rendering process. So we use now here the image context, which is the compositing networks context inside of Houdini. To make now here your compositing, you need an image network, and you get this here with the tab key image network. A double click and you dive inside, and in this context here you will now find all the nodes you need for compositing. It's a little bit like Nuke or Fusion. It's a node-based compositing system. To see the output of a compositing system, you go here to the compositing view. So this viewport here is exactly here for the compositing purposes. You see here your layers and AUVs. You also have here some tools hidden, and you have here your viewer settings. And to read now something in here, there are different ways, but we have rendered all the EXRs out, so we want to read them in now here, and this is made by the normal file node. So if you add here a file node, you can change the path where you get the file here by this little icon here, and in our case we first want to have the renderer here under mantra PBR. This is our final render, and you can use the H key here for home, or use your normal mouse interaction here like in every window of Houdini. So this is our beauty pass. To now read in the crypto information, we need another file node, and this file node here reads in the crypto material we had before, and I throw it over here, and now you see here the same image we had before. You can open up here your layers. This is the crypto material, this is the Cryptomatte, so my properties which we have built before, and this is the crypto name. So all the informations are there, the same like in Nuke. Now we want to use this here, for example, for compositing or pulling masks. For this we need a node, and since 16.5 we have here the Cryptomatte node, so we can add this here. It's really easy to use. We need here the Cryptomatte image, and we can draw the output here. And now we have here our layers which we can select. In our case, for example, we want to have the crypto material, and now you see it switches here over to the correct image, and this here is now a picker. So if you click here now somewhere, you see this little transparency visualization here, and you get here the matte selection, the same like in Nuke. And if you want to have more than one, you can hold down the shift key here to add something more to the list, and you see here's the list, and so you can go into the list if you need, and you can change also here the objects in the list if you like by hand. Now you see these here are the trunks, and if you go over here now you see the trunks are selected. Okay, so this here is the matte, so the output here is a matte if you want to see this here, and you can now use this information here, for example, for this data stream. For this we can use, for example, a simple color correct node. We drag it here, set the display flag. This is now our complete image, and we can now bring the mask into this here, and I think it would be nicer if we clear this up here. We stay with the properties we have done and click here, so we get the grass here. And if we now go here, we have the grass selected, and now we can go here to multiply and change, for example, here the green of our grass here to something really fancy, something like that. So you see, the same work we have done inside of Nuke is now made here inside of the compositing context. If you want to output something, you can use the ROP file output node here, which is like the rendering node here. You can output an EXR file, and you can tell which planes you also want to output here at this point of time. So you see, you can use the Cryptomatte here directly inside of this compositing context. This wraps up now our tutorial. I hope you've learned something useful for your production and workflows inside of Houdini and Nuke. My name is Helge Maus from pixeltrain. If you need more tutorials or have wishes or questions, you can use the command under this video tutorial, or you can write me an email on info@pixeltrain.de.